There he is again. Today, something completely new. A tech video, short and sweet. 4 small experiments and the matching explanation. It's about Wi-Fi reception and how to improve it on the ESP8266 or the D1 Mini. Let's get started. Get ready to be surprised.
The simplest experiment I did was just to extend the antenna. You can see the values. I have a plastic tweezer, so RS engineers, please forgive me. I'm not that experienced in high frequency technology either, but you can also recap it. I'll go over it again. You can try this test yourself first. Give it a try. That might already be enough to get 3 decibels or 4 decibels more. But you have to know 3 decibels means it doubles because the whole thing is logarithmic. And I'll talk briefly about the length of this stub in a moment. So it's not as simple as just taking a piece of wire. So you also have to see, now it's going up again. So you can already do something with that. Just to boost the Wi-Fi transmission power or signal strength. To improve it, I'll grab another ground shield. This one's a bit longer. All right, and again. So these are 2 different lengths. And so it's not that simple, you see? I actually put some thought into this when choosing the lengths. Well, I'll explain that further in a bit. Okay, I really want to keep this very short today. This is the simplest test I did right at the very beginning. So here I found something online. I have the first Wemos that I used in my first experiment, this one right here. It also displays the signal level there. And I modified this one. Here, the trace is cut, and this little stub has been soldered on here. This gap is 31 millimeters, which has to do with the wavelength. I'll make a diagram again so you can see why that is. In any case, the differences are remarkable, and I hope you can compare them like this. Since the measurements are calibrated, but it's the same program. I loaded a little program onto the Wemos D1, so it should actually be identical in terms of the calculations. And I was really only interested in the reception quality. And you can really see clear differences here, which surprised me because with this simple setup, it's actually pretty decent what you get out of it when you look at it like this. So those are some pretty significant differences. But it is a bit of work because you have to cut a trace on the circuit board. And like I said, some soldering is necessary. I only did that to keep things a bit more stable. Here, this is hot glue because I already tore one off before. It's a really tiny trace where you solder it, and then it goes really fast. And here, the solder pad is gone, basically disappeared. Yeah, that's the almost perfect solution, but with a ready-made antenna, a finished Wi-Fi antenna, and a bit of soldering. A trace is cut, and then, as you can see there, you just solder a little something on. I'll explain that a bit more in detail in a moment. Gives you another 2 to 3 decibels. So for the hobbyist who likes to solder, this is probably the best solution. The only thing is, you have to buy a ready-made Wi-Fi antenna. But yeah, that's really not a big problem. I'm actually pretty satisfied with this solution. I have it down in the basement where I read my gas meter. I've been using it for 2 years now, and I'm really happy with it. Because in the basement, well, the reception's really bad. So last experiment number 4. The measurements I'm showing up here now. I took them earlier when everything was quiet. I basically set the antenna upright, so vertical, and just measured for a few minutes, then simply took a section of the data. Unfortunately, the little measurement program on the Wemos Pro threw a wrench in my plans. It didn't accept a file, so it didn't work. So I had to do it through Home Assess It. but basically, I think it's almost identical. I just want to say something quickly about it. This is the Wemos D1 Mini Pro. You can see it better this way. It's a bit more expensive, but it has a big advantage. It has its own antenna. Still, you can't just plug the antenna in. You have to solder it. Here's the other ceramic antenna, and you have to do some soldering here. Normally, there's a bridge here. There's a 0 ohm resistor, basically just a bridge. You take that out and then make the bridge here, so the antenna is connected over here. That's how the signal's routed. You don't have to use the old resistor. It's a 0 ohm resistor. So basically, it's just a bridging resistor. You could also just use a piece of wire. It really doesn't matter. Otherwise, it's just a standard small Wi-Fi antenna, even from AliExpress as usual. And it works, as you can see up there, pretty well. As I said, the Wemos D1 Mini is a bit more expensive, but I think it's worth the money. For everyone, it's from the same product family because I've already made a few videos, for example, with the Sojoso controller or with Huawei. And they actually fit perfectly on there. So you can easily load these programs onto it, since it's the same product family. But sometimes there are problems. I've heard about this, and people have written to me about it, that Wi-Fi is always a bit tricky. So this would be the solution I recommend to anyone who says, I don't really want to do a lot of tinkering, just a bit of tinkering, and I feel confident enough to change this little bridge there. Okay, just a few more diagrams, a little bit of theory and some explanations and notes about the things I just did. So about these little experiments. The goal of the whole thing was to improve the gain by 3 decibels. That means we need to make an effort to get the D1 Mini below 70 dB, so better than 70 dB. The whole thing actually turned out differently than I had imagined. I didn't get much further with theory. It's really a bit of trial and error, so you really have to try out the trial and error method. A lot of people will probably say, yeah, aren't repeaters the better choice? Maybe. I do have 1, 2, 3 repeaters myself, but that just clutters up the wireless network even more because we have a very limited frequency band with Wi-Fi. So like I said, theory and practice aren't quite compatible. So how do you actually do all this fun stuff? What does it all come down to? We need to determine the channel we're transmitting on. With the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, we then determine the frequency. We can just look that up online and use an online calculator, just Google it, to figure out the lambda value, basically to determine the wavelength. It just gives you that online. And then there's some standard reference values like half lambda or quarter lambda, and all the antennas are adjusted a bit based on that. So like I said, the Wi-Fi frequency range we're using, with the Wemos D1, it's between 2.4 and 2.5 gigahertz. The most commonly used channels are 1, 6, and 11. Those usually give you the best results. Just check your Fritz box to see which channel is being used. Make sure they're a bit apart, and then you can pretty much get started and try things out. The rule of thumb, 12.1 to 12.4 centimeters is the wavelength in the 2.4 gigahertz band. And the rule of thumb is that about half the wavelength, so roughly 6.2 centimeters, gives the best results if you've used that as an antenna extension. It always has to be a whole number multiple of lambda, so either a quarter lambda or half lambda. That's it for the theory. Now let's move on to the experiments. Honestly, I'm most surprised by this. I really have to admit, I was genuinely surprised by that. I just, as you saw, cut 2 little pieces of hookup wire. They were between 40 millimeters and 60 millimeters long, and then I just ran them along the traces here. And just like you saw, it really changed the values significantly. And I tried that a few times, as you saw. That really surprised me. But I'm still not entirely sure how long it actually needs to be because, like I said, I'm not an RF technician. I'm not that familiar with radio technology, so I don't really know how to calculate this antenna. What kind of lambda value is that? Or how is it even done? I have no idea. If there ever happens to be an experienced radio technician out there, I'd really appreciate some explanations in the comments about how to calculate that. But you saw that when I walked back here with this. With this little cable here, there was already a noticeable change to the benefit of the signal. That's why I went ahead and soldered it directly later on, which is also a good solution. Basically, it's just a replica of this little cable. Yeah, the other thing was experiment 2. I showed that as well. That's this little rod antenna you see here. But you do have to put in a bit of effort for that. You have to separate it here. And this part 1 marked with the white arrow is the solder pad. So be a little careful. It's really just a very small area where you can solder. That's why I used hot glue here. Hot glue, sorry, I got mixed up for a second. Hot glue guns to secure it a bit so it doesn't tear off here. So it's separated here. You can see the separation here. And here's where I soldered it in place. The result is very good, as you saw. This is a 50 ohm coaxial cable, and the length is about 31 millimeters. The person I found online who built this, I couldn't quite figure out the measurements. So I tried it myself again, snipped off little pieces bit by bit, started a bit longer, and eventually ended up with this value. So as you saw, this solution worked pretty well too. Then basically the same thing again, it would actually be here as well. You're basically just making the separation. This is the solder pad. And you basically solder on the connection for an external antenna. That's how I did it here. Up front here, as you can see, the ground goes on, meaning the shielding, and right here at the front. Then solder the core on and connect the whole thing to this antenna. The result is okay, but you also have to keep in mind that you always have the issue of a new contact here. That means in high frequency technology, this is obviously not something you can ignore. Yeah, then there's just the luxury version. But for that, you can't use the regular D1 Mini. You have to use the D1 Mini Pro. So I basically have one of these SMRs, which comes with this connector, and that's attached here. You have to resolder here once. This is the spot right here. Normally, hopefully you can see it down here, there's a 0 ohm resistor here. That needs to be desoldered and a bridge goes in its place. And that's pretty much all there is to it. As I said, there's a ready-made antenna for that. That's an SMA connector, male with a pin. The length is about 11 millimeters. But like I said, you also get losses from the connector. So a connector like that also has certain losses. I think this is the luxury version. You can do it, but you don't have to. If you don't want to do a lot of soldering or you just want a small antenna like this, it's a good solution. So in conclusion, optimizing the Wi-Fi signal. My favorite is the piece of wire or this little stub antenna made from 50 ohm coaxial cable, about 32 millimeters. It's an excellent solution. Once you've tried it and you've figured out the frequency yourself and worked it out using 3R as well. Just write down the length once, and then wherever you have poor reception, just take a little piece of wire like this and solder it on the back. By the way, here's a quick tip for measuring. You don't have to do it the way I did, but you can just download the motor, go to information, and then read the signal level there. Beforehand, please set the telemetry to period 10, otherwise it takes a long time for it to switch. So as I said, and I want to emphasize this, the quarter wavelength wire seems, in my experience, from what I've tried here, it seems to be the best and simplest solution without having to do a lot of extra stuff. Yeah, like I said, you'll learn by trying. I hope you have a lot of fun with these little experiments, whether you want to recreate them or just improve on them. I'm looking forward to it. This is something new I've done now. A quick look at the technology without a lot of theory. Sometimes I got a little too caught up in the theory. And I'm happy if you visit me again on my little channel. And of course, if you give me a thumbs up, or subscribe. See you soon.